Hey guys, we are here with Spot. Spot is going to be leaving today. He's been boarding with us, doing some training for a little over a month now. He is up for adoption. I do believe he is going to be going up to Buffalo, New York to be going to a foster home there and be looking for his forever home. So I did want to just go over a few things for Spot for whoever is going to be fostering him or potentially adopt him. Okay, so we have worked on pressure and release with Spot. So I have a lot of videos on my YouTube page that go over exactly how you're going to do pressure on and pressure off. Okay, so pressure on means go into a calmer state of mind, which in turn means put your butt on the ground. Notice I do not say SIT. As soon as butt hits ground, pressure releases. Okay. Pressure on, pressure off. Okay. Off. Good boy. Heel. Heel means walk with me at my pace. His nose shouldn't go past my knee. I should have a completely loose leash. You never want to wrap your leash around your hand because that's going to add additional pressure. Even just the tiniest little bit of pressure is going to relay to him that he needs to pay attention or he's doing something incorrect. So if you're adding pressure to the leash when it's not appropriate, you're relaying a message to him that, sorry about that, you're relaying that message to him that you need him to do something differently. So you want to think of your slip lead as a traffic light. Your red light is we're going to stop moving. You're going to hold 2 fingers worth of pressure, even just 1 finger's worth of pressure. Straight up and down. You don't want to pull back or to the side. It's going to be straight up and down. As soon as his butt hits the ground, pressure immediately releases. So we're telling him red light, good, you've stopped. Okay. Your yellow light is going to be a quick pop of the leash, okay? So it's a quick on and off method just to say pay attention. Okay, so it's not a full-on calm down, but it's pay attention. You're not paying attention to where you are. You haven't fully left this invisible box right next to me, but you're not quite focused on what I'm doing as a handler. Your green light is when you have this loose leash. Come on, buddy, off. You have this loose leash. Sorry, he starts pawing at it. I'm going to have to put him into a calmer state of mind. That's a good thing to know too. If you ever see him pawing at it, if he gets off, I do have him trained on transitional, but you do not have to use this method. You can just use slip lead. Just remember that you want this to be framing his skull. So high up, as high as you can get it. You do not want this on their trachea. That is just going to be putting pressure on their throat. And that's not going to be very effective. If you're doing it around their skull, they have pressure points in their skull, and we're applying the pressure to those pressure points. The reason we do transitional is because dogs have additional pressure points in their muzzle. So when we apply the pressure, it's applying it to there and to there. So he's kind of feeling it in additional places. Okay, and it's going to help him to feel that pressure a little bit quicker and be a little bit easier for him to focus. But you do not have to use that method. You can just use pops and pressure and release, but you can see how much it's already slipped down onto his throat right there. That's not proper positioning. So if I apply pressure right now, that pressure is on his throat, and notice he's not sitting. If I apply it high up around his skull where it's supposed to be, you can see as soon as I apply that pressure, he immediately goes into that sit position because we're applying it to the pressure points. We're also using spatial pressure, which is a second form of pressure where you can move into him and back off. So pressure on, pressure off. Okay, so let's say I had been standing here holding this pressure and he's not focusing on me. Instead of adding more tension to the leash, I'm going to get him to pay attention to me by using spatial pressure and release. And then pressure turns off. Okay, yep. Okay. So these are some of the things that you want to remember. And like I said, I have a lot of videos on my page on healing techniques as far as just using slip lead and just using transitional as well. Transitional is great for when you have additional distractions. So if you're going to be taking them out into public or you are just in a busier area, that's going to be a really easy way for you to kind of help communicate to him without needing to use verbal cues, because dogs do not speak English. We do not speak bark. So having this formal line of communication that we can use consistently is going to be your key to having an obedient dog. A couple other things that I want to mention as far as Spot goes. He does get excited. He can launch himself. He will just like go running across my living room and just like fly over my couch. So he is a jumper. He could do agility. He would be great at agility. He would have so much fun doing that. He would be really, really good at that, and it would give him some mental and physical stimulation. So that is a really great option for him. But, excuse me, just reinforcing jumping is key. So I use the word off to replace the word no. So off means this is something that's not appropriate, something that's never appropriate. Anytime paws leave the ground, whether it be for jumping or trying to counter surf or trash dive, which he will do. He is a counter surfer. So he'll even take, like, he's taking down like a plastic cup off of my counter and chewed up a cup. So, but he does love toys. So make sure you keep toys around for him. He will lay on the couch and chew on a nice hard nylabone forever. He loves them. Don't use plush or squeaky toys with him. It will only promote digging and destruction. All you're doing is allowing him to kind of just destroy this silly little toy, and then we throw it away because who cares, no big deal, and we just get a new one. But then he'll start doing things like eating a couch cushion or eating your shoes, and then people are like, well, why is he doing that? It's because the textures that you're giving him to play with aren't very consistent. You have a lot of those textures around the house. So it becomes kind of difficult for him to know how come this thing that's laying around is okay for me to eat, but this thing that's laying around isn't okay for me to eat. So especially moving into a new home and being in a new, living environment, you want to make sure that you're giving him appropriate toys so that he doesn't start messing up your other stuff. Reinforce jumping by using off and using your knee. So if he goes to jump, you can use your knee and go like that. So what that's doing is creating a barrier, and you're making yourself move forward and telling him to back off and giving him a correction. What people tend to want to do when a dog jumps is back up. But what you're doing by backing up is just inviting him to come play, because he thinks, we're jumping around, we're having fun together. If you move into him, you're using that spatial pressure that I was telling you about by saying, this is my area, you've come too much into my space, you need to back up, right? So if you back up, you're telling him come forward. If you move into him, you're telling him back off of me. So using off and your knee is a great option for getting him to stop jumping on you. Consistency is key. I am not a fan of dogs giving hugs. It's really difficult. You have to have a well-trained dog, and you guys have to be on a good, you have to have a good understanding of each other for that to be okay, because it has to be done when you ask for it to happen. If you're allowing him to jump up on you once in a while and then you get mad at him for jumping up on new people, it's not fair to him, because you're telling him jumping is okay sometimes, but jumping isn't okay all times, but you're not telling him when, and it's just going to be really confusing. So I don't personally recommend doing any kind of hugs or anything like that. Go down to him and give him a hug if you want to. But yeah, use off, use your knee. You can also use your slip lead for this. So with your slip lead, what you can do is you can go like this and step on it. Spot. Hey, Spot, what's he doing? What's he doing? He's a good boy. He's my good boy. He's my good boy. So he's already starting to kind of figure out with me that this is a trick, because we do this a lot. But you can stand on that leash, and then as soon as his paws leave the ground, what happens is he's going to get an auto correction from the leash. You don't have to do anything, and the leash is telling him calm down or pay attention, right? because we have taught him what pressure and release means on the leash. When he feels that, he's going to know that's a communicator. So those are the two biggest things that you can do as far as jumping. Use your knee, be consistent, say off every time his paws leave the ground, off, right? Or use that slip lead and step on it, and you can entice him to try and jump. And you're doing setups. You're teaching him that regardless of what's going on around you, you still need to stay calm and focus on me. Crates. He is doing well in his crate as far as like whining or anything goes. But I highly recommend having him in a strong crate. He is a Houdini. He will get out of crates that are not super secure. I have had him, the crates where you kind of just open the door, like it lifts up and then pulls out. He can pop those open in a half a second. He's figured that out real fast. Those kind of crates, I have to put 1 or 2 carabiners on them so that he doesn't pop them open. He's also been able to pop off like back panels of some older crates that aren't like super secure. So I typically put zip ties on all of my crates anyway. So that one is now zip tied, of course, but he was able to kind of bump it. And you can see he even scratched his nose doing it one night. He bumped the wall of the crate and was able to knock it out. And I came out and he was just sleeping on the couch. He didn't do anything. He doesn't really mess with anything, but, he was just laying on the couch. So I would make sure that you keep him in a secure crate. The best one that I have found for him is the one that lifts up and down and has 2 locks on it. That way he's got multiple ways he's got to get out. He hasn't gotten out of that crate yet. So just make sure you're keeping him in a sturdy crate. I know he's going to be going to the vet, so I'm not quite sure. He has some skin allergies, I believe. It's starting to clear up already, which is great. But the last week or so, he's been getting these little spots. So very typical for pitties to get skin allergies. So once he goes to the vet and we get a better idea of what that is, I'm sure that'll be on his medical papers for whenever he gets to a new home. We have worked on all of his basic obedience. So come, sit, place, off, heel, wait. I really recommend doing waiting at the door. I never allow any dogs to just bolt out the door. I always make them do a sit, wait, and I open the door and I kind of go in and out a few times. My cat's usually there. I'll knock on the door. I do lots of distractions to show our dog that regardless of what's going on outside, we are not leaving the house until you are in a calm state of mind. And we do it on my cue when I say, okay. And then he gets to walk through the door with me or after me. I never allow them to just go bolting out the door out of pure excitement. He poops a lot. He honestly, he'll poop like 4 or 5 times a day. He's not eating excessively. He loves his food and everything, but he's definitely not like eating excessively. So yeah, just make sure he's getting out to potty enough during the day. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of. He's very social. He loves other dogs. He's very playful. He's great with my 9-year-old son. He is great with all people that I've met. He's great with my cats. He's got no issue with my cat. Yeah, so all in all, I mean, he's a really sweet boy. He's full of energy. Come here, Bubba, you're tangled. He's full of energy. He's a spry young guy, but he's a lot of fun, and anybody that loves pitties will love him because he is just such a typical happy pitty boy. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about him, let me know. I've spent some good time with him now, so I know a lot about him. I'd be happy to help you with anything. So I hope this serves somebody well, and I hope whoever finds room in their heart and their home for Spot has an amazing time with him because he's a sweet boy. He really deserves it. So bye, Spot. Have a good one.